I'm the Secretary of United Swindon at Honda, and we hear a lot of talk about what we should do, what we shouldn't do, and about friends and non-friends. Unfortunately, we have no friends. Cameron, Clegg, Lafarge, Miliband, it's UK PLC. There is no difference. They are all going the same way. Each one eats away at the determination of the working class to provide resistance to these cuts. The message is always the same: we can't do anything else. It's because they don't want it. They don't want to cancel crime. They don't want to cancel their wars and the various other things you'd like to spend the money on. That is why we must all stand together. It's from the grassroots, from the very bottom. We've got to put the message up. Put it up to the TUC. You represent us. You must put the message through. We must have a general strike. We must all stand together. And that is the only way. We must get the UK PLC to set up and take notice. And the only way is in the boardrooms of the land. And that is to hit them with a hat, and that is in the pocket. So everyone here, support for general strike and push forward for it to the TUC. Thank you so much.
Mary Cook, a retired nurse from Peterborough, originally from Liverpool, a member of the National Pensioners Convention. We have been fighting in the National Pensioners Convention in Peterborough and throughout the country for the CWU. We are concerned that the CWU has affiliated yet again to the Labour Party. Having just heard Mr Hayes say that 3 times under Labour they have had difficulties. Well, why give them money if they're causing you difficulties? For the renationalisation of the NHS. I am appalled as a nurse, and I know that before the NHS came about, the conditions you wouldn't believe that people have to put up with. And I tell you, the Americanised system is not going to help us. Now I appeal to you, we need a renationalisation of all public services. Pensioners are with you. I talk to them, pleading with them to go the socialist way. And I tell you, I am winning.
Sir Martin Powell-Davies, a member of the National Executive of the NUT. Now, teachers and education faces an absolute onslaught. You know about the attacks on pensions. We now have a tax on our pay, where a teacher who moves from one job to another after September will have no guarantee of protection of their pay and can face pay cuts. And now we have the final straw of an attempt by Gove to remove any of our contractual workload protections, taking away limits on days and hours and the other workload protections that we've got. And the response from teachers across the country has been, enough is enough. We cannot carry on doing this job under those kind of conditions. But that, of course, is exactly what Gove and Cameron want, because they don't care about education for any of your young people. They are quite happy to have schools staffed by underpaid, bullied staff who are just going to be taken in, worked to death for a couple of years and then spat out, because that's what helps them to privatise education. And we can't allow that to happen. And it's been said that there was a pause. And yes, that pause is to blame first and foremost from those union leaders that deliberately, I think, pulled the rug. But we've got to say about those unions who then also paused themselves. They had their own crisis of confidence, and that crisis of confidence has got to stop. We have got to be taking action, and I'm glad to say that last week at last, we had teachers, the NUT and the NESUWT, taking solid action across the North West, across 22 local authorities. But that has just got to be the beginning, because the reality is there's been real anger. But I know that action took place. You as trade unionists might know that action took place, but virtually nobody will know, because there was a complete media blackout. There was nothing in the national TV coverage to say that action was taking place. But it's what we, those of us on the executive been pushing for action, have said, that the reality is that's what happens when you only take regional action. What we've got to do is to take national strike action, certainly of the teachers, but not just the teachers. We've got to take action together, as our members have been saying to me. Yes, we want to take action, but not let's just take action just to protest against the inevitable. We want to take action to protest and to make sure that we win and we defeat these attacks. And the strongest way that you can take action is to take action together. So we're going to be out in the autumn. Let's make sure all the trade unions are out in autumn with a 24-hour general strike, and we're going to stop these attacks and defend our members and our services.
Can you hear me okay? Pat Carmody, I'm a Unite member, but I'm also very much involved in the Anti-Veteran Tax and Benefits Justice Federation. And I want to start with this. People have said it, we're facing the most significant assault on what we hold to be dear, the NHS, the welfare state and so on. But actually there's people getting hearings from different sides. I mean, I think it's a fantastic conference today, but also today we know that the likes of the English Defence League, the British National Party, the rise of UKIP, that actually people listen to West's ideas. Now, there's a counter-protest today that's going on, and I'd like to report the great news that Tommy Robinson, apparently, of the EDL, has been arrested. The dirty, racist, nasty thug, been on our screens too often. And I'm glad that we won't get a chance again, the dirty little convict and so on. Right now, I just want to say this to Billy about the Apprentice. Apprentice is my favourite programme at the moment. It's my favourite programme. I'll tell you why. Because I look at all those suited, obnoxious, middle class, ruling class, richly educated people, contestants on that programme, and they just remind me of my bosses. Right? And I'll tell you what it shows. I think all of our bosses in our workplace are incompetent. The people that are bullying us, we can have them. We can fight back. We can organise to ensure that in every single workplace, the issues of bullying and pain, we can fight back and organise. You see, when people say that we could have 6 million people out on the strike, the general strike, I think it'd be more than that. If the general strike's called, we will have hundreds of thousands, millions of people will join the cause. People who come out and strike because we're facing something that is absolutely vicious. You think about Stephanie Bottrell. Think about Stephanie Bottrell, right? That suicide was completely unnecessary. Because if Ed Miliband, from day one, had said, we're going to scrap the veteran tax and we're informing every single Labour council not to evict anyone over arrears, Stephanie would be with us today. And actually, we need to give people hope. We need to give people hope. And the hope is this. Every time that there's industrial action that's called, people flock. They come out and strike. We saw it on the 30th of November 2011. But what we've got to do, every single socialist, everyone that's organising the movement, what we need to do is this. Every chance we get to build a struggle, we need to grab it with both hands. And I say this to every single socialist that's in Unite in this room. In the general secretary election, Mary Cook spoke very well about it. It was a discussion about how we organise, but also how political representation. I'm a Unite member. I don't want millions of pounds of our subs going to the Labour Party without any conditions. There's a problem with that. That's why I voted for Jerry Hicks. And that's why, when it comes to the London election, which Ian Bradley, the construction worker, when the construction workers won, they won against Balfour Beatty, all those big firms, against a 35% pay cut. So Ian is part of that rank and file movement that shows you how you can fight. He standing in that election. Socialists should get behind him. Socialists should get behind him and vote for him, but also for a voice that says we can't just give blank cheques to Labour. Thank you.
Just before the next speaker, could I have another show of hands? We might be able to get a few more people in. Somebody at the back on the left, yeah. This fellow here, yeah. Okay, I also need Patrick Mulholland would make his way to the front.
Chair, comrades, Steve North. I'm here today as a delegate from Salford Trades Council, and I just want to begin by bringing a message of solidarity and support for one of our delegates in Salford. And some of you may have heard about what happened to the anti-blacklisting campaign in the construction industry, George Tapp, who is a United member in Salford, is one of our delegates, and on a protest a few weeks ago outside a construction site in East Manchester against the known blacklisters ban, George was struck by a car, broke both his legs, and had to go into hospital. His spine's condition's improving, his legs are obviously in a bad way, and it's going to be a while before he can walk again unaided. We immediately organised a support appeal that I've spoken to Rob, and the details of that can be circulated after the conference in the next citizen bulletin. But I just want to bring a message of support from George, because he would be here today. He sat on the coach all night last year to get here, and then helped steward the event as well. So I just want to bring that first of all. In addition to back on, so I don't think there's going to be any help for any of the blacklisting firms as long as George is still about. As well as being a delegate from Salford Trades Council, I'm also a Unison member, and it's difficult. It's difficult when you come along to conferences like this. You know, Unison aren't supporting the National Shop Stewards Network, and obviously the role played by our leadership at this moment in time is not a fantastic one. I think when Steve talks about us treading water within our own sectors, as a local government worker and a Unison member, it feels like we're drowning. We've just gone through a national consultation on pay. Now, the outcome of that is that our union has accepted a 1% deal for local government workers. But there are some positive messages that have come out of it. Of all the regions of Unison across the country, 2 regions advocated rejection. And lo and behold, those were the 2 regions where in the consultation, members voted for rejection. That was my region, the North West, and also the London region. Now, that just shows what a lead can do. Where a lead is given by our leadership, members will respond. And that's particularly important in my region in the North West, and I suppose also the London region, not known for being bastions of left-wing militancy. When they've come out and given a lead, members have supported that and voted to reject. And we attended Unison Conference last week, and the leadership were given an absolute hammering over the fact that there was a complete abdication of responsibility from them. And they were put under a lot of pressure, and we're confident that it's going to be very, very difficult for them to make the same mistake again going forward. As well as that, within my own union, we are seeing districts, we are seeing struggles. I know we've got workers in the room from mid-Yorkshire hospitals. I'm sure they'll speak about their own campaign over the course of the day. But I just want to flag up one last thing before my time finishes, Chair, and that's a message of support that I hope we can give from this meeting to future directions workers in Rochdale. Care workers recently outsourced by Rochdale Council in Greater Manchester, who are now working for a firm, Future Directions, that is wholly owned, despite being a private company, by an NHS trust. That is the public sector in 21st century Britain. And those workers, some of them are being hit with up to a 42% pay cut. Now, they've already taken 4 days of action. They're going to be taking another 5. I'm sure we can send a message of support. The shop steward would love to have been here today, but obviously they've got a rally in Rochdale, and I'm sure we can send a message of support as well and circulate those details, hopefully, so that we can all show that we're on the side of those workers. Thanks very much.
Hi comrades, my name is Michael Logan. I'm the lead rep from an organisation called Equinox Care. It's based in London and the South East. We went on strike recently because the chief executive started to impose cuts of between 25 to 30% on our salaries. Even though the money was there, he's at the top of the race to the bottom. As a result of this industrial action that we took of an organisation of 120 people, of the 2 days of strike, 70% of the workforce went on strike. Now we know that there are some big organisations that have bigger numbers and surpluses that won't take any action. But I'm here to tell you that even though, because at one point I was the only union rep in the whole organisation, and I stood with support from my local branch, Unite Branch 1111, and Rob as well. We stood, we built up the union base, and we got people on the front line. As a result, from 25%, we managed to get them to defer it by 10% for a year. I'm saying that to everyone today that even though you might be a few, you might feel that the odds, the media and everything's against you, you can make a difference like I've done and Unite have done. Thank you.
Glenn Kelly, Unison Branch Secretary. As a council worker this week, I listened intently to the misnamed spending review. Another 10% cut in council budgets as part of the Tories' £11 billion worth of cuts. So cocky and confident are the Tories that their election manifesto to the people of Britain is more austerity and more cuts. But what was worse, so cocky and confident are they? So confident of no political opposition being posed, they effectively this week wrote New Labour's manifesto as well, which would be austerity continued. Now Steve did say that we were treading water, and I absolutely agree. As a council worker, it feels like we're drowning with the boss's foot on our heads and also being held under by New Labour. 450,000 council workers' jobs gone in 3 years. 900,000 more jobs are now being said to be cut by 2017. There is open talk of literally councils going bankrupt. And whilst Labour councillors squeal and weep crocodile tears, the reality is every single council has capitulated and imposed the cuts. And that raises a particular responsibility of what of our union leaders' response to that, in particular the likes of Unison in local government and health. But it's not just the case, unfortunately, that they're fiddling while Rome burns. There's a whole bloody orchestra of them playing, such as their useless lead that they're giving. Their only strategy is to say to branches, good luck with the fight, we're right behind you. The only problem is about 2 miles behind us. That is the truth. Branches to be left, isolated, picked off one by one. That is a strategy for nothing else other than annihilation. If there was the will, there could undoubtedly be united action across the public and private sector. Take your pick of issues, pay cuts or privatisation. The reality is, it is not the anti-trade union laws that are the block of the general strike in Britain today. It is the cowardice of many of our trade union leaders. Comrades, let's be clear that the necessity for a general strike is as important, if not more so, now than it was debated in September. And we have to face up to the task. If the TUC refuse to be moved, then in effect we have to go over the tops of their heads to bring together that coalition of genuine fighting trade unions and that they call and name the day for a 24-hour general strike to begin the fight back that our members rightly deserve.
Thank you, brothers and sisters. Chris Hughes, Henry Joe. It's over 40 years ago, I came here for a National Union of Students debate, and the microphones worked nearly as well then. In fact, being the token junior reporter, guess who got the job of interviewing the 2 wings of the IRA who just split? Of course, joking aside, there is one thing I think we all should mention to the BBC next time he starts bleating. The new DG, well I think he's still the new DG, Lord Hall, he has banned my members from describing the bedroom tax as a bedroom tax. Nice Mr Cameron says it's got to be called something else. Well, Citizen Dave should know he was in PR. Then of course we talk about the latest package of cuts and nice Mr Osborne. Well, sorry George, if you collected the tax owed by the owners of the 12 largest media companies, you'd actually get your 20 billion back in. Rupert Murdoch alone owes $1.5 billion. That's over 3 times what Robert Maxwell stole. We're not talking, we're talking very large sums of money. Then you have the owner of the Daily Mail. The Daily Mail owner's only objection to the NUJ is not that we're a union, we have a code of conduct. His far-out editor, I'm not allowed to repeat the exact words, but it was lots of effing and blinding about, we don't want your professional standards here. We're one on our own, which I always have none. This neatly brings me on to Levison. One of the reasons we had the Levison inquiry is because the establishment is genuinely worried, right, about the amount of information that nice Mr Murdoch and his fellow media barons have got on the establishment and particularly MPs and peers. Yes, they have got files on a hell of a lot of people. They've got more files between them than MI5 or MI6 put together. Now, we've only suggested there should be legal underpinning of a proper code of conduct and a proper way of getting these disputes resolved. The same people, of course, then pull the rug out, do little deals in smoke-filled rooms, and try and get David Cameron to support what they're doing. But here's the irony. All the British papers do Irish editions that are sold in the Irish Republic. Now, if you sell a copy of anything to the Irish Republic, you're subject to precisely the same legal redress and code of conduct that we're proposing for the UK. It's funny actually, Mr Murdoch and the foul-mouthed editor of the Daily Mail and the very sensitive proprietor of the Daily Express and the forward-thinking editor of the Daily Telegraph, it's very funny that they can't seem to mention this next to whatever they waffle on at Parliament or Levison. But we're still going to be there. They keep on predicting the NUJ is going to go bust. They're predicting that for 40 years. We're still here, and we'll be here next year.